Hey everyone, it's Ken Mason from Whispering Souls. Sorry it's been a while since I've been back on. I've had some setbacks with my stroke recovery. Um, so today I decided I was going to. I've been trying to write a book basically on the tarot and how to use it and so on and so forth. So I haven't been able to because writing is very, very difficult for me, and I've been sitting there being very frustrated and wondering how I can help my students and so forth. And the one thing I realized though is that I can do YouTube videos. Um, so I decided I'm going to take what I know about the tarot cards, and I've been using tarot cards for 28 years now. Um, so I'm going to give you a really quick look at these cards and how and what they mean. Um, Again, this is strictly my interpretation. Like I did before, I learned from somebody else and I adapted it to what I wanted them to be. And again, this is something you're going to be doing because I'll tell you what these are, or what my feelings are. So the first thing I can give you is the spiritual meaning for them, and then I'm going to give you the private reading, or the the one you would do in a reading for a client. Because tarot has been around for a very long time. They were all designed for a very specific reason, and so I'm going to go through each one of these 22 cards and let you know exactly where to start with these cards and what you might mean for you. I've always told people if you're going to do tarot, then what you do is you take each card, you quickly look at them, put them around, and write down what it feels to you, not what it means to either me or what's in the book, or it's what it means to you, because your own psychic abilities will kick in and say, oh, this is what it feels like. So to start off, we're going to talk about the Fool's Journey, and the Fool's Journey is the Major Arcana. It's a story from the time that you're born to the time that you pretty much pass away, and it's unlike the Minor Arcana, which are basically our playing cards. They're same as our playing cards. This is an actual story from number 0 all the way to number 21, the 22 cards. And they're all, they've all got, they're all numbered, and they've all got the name on the bottom, and the names will be pretty accurate in what they actually mean. But I'm going to go through the kind of the life cycle of these cards from 0 to 21, and you'll see what I mean by it's actually a whole lifespan of somebody, or generic people of what their lifespan is for. So the first one that we have to start off with is the Fool. Now, the Fool, as you can see here, over here. I'm going to place the cards over here for you guys to see them. So the Fool is basically the birth of a person's spiritual journey. It's not a physical birth, it's a spiritual journey. And so the very first thing you have is you're born, you have no emotions, you have no fear of anything, which is shown on him being on an edge of a cliff. He's got the dog, which represents God, or whoever you believe in. It could be the Muslim God, it could be any kind of God that's out there. But it shows that he's got very little in his package. So, he's starting on his new journey. The meaning in life, again, if you're looking at somebody and somebody comes up with the Fool, starting a new journey, basically, maybe a new job, could be them doing their own creativity, going out and changing what they like to do in life. So the number 2 card, or number 1, because that's number 0, and this is where I get mixed up, so I'm sorry, but the tarot cards start with 0. And sometimes I get mixed up because, normally we start with 1. So the next one that comes up, which is number 1, is the Magician. The Magician is basically a spirit guide that comes to you and says, okay, now you have to pick up what your lessons are going to be in life. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on money? Are you going to focus on the heart? Are you going to focus on working with negativities in life? Or are you going to work at your creativity or your work? The meaning in life, though, basically means you look at something and says, okay, now you have to focus on something. Like you've worked so hard in doing this, and you've been successful at this point. Now you need to change. For instance, you worked the last 15 years on your job, and all of a sudden you come to the point where you're bored or whatever, so now you can turn around and say, okay, now I have to focus on, romance or having a kids, or do I deal with all the negativities in my life, or do I do something creative or just deal with money? So the next one is the High Priestess, which is number 2. The High Priestess in tarot is the spirit guide. You'll notice in the picture, that she's holding the little thing in her hands, and I forgot what the name of it was, but sorry, having a stroke really removes a lot of words out of my mind. Anyway, she's holding your life in her hands, and she's showing you in the background that there's a lot of things to do. She's going to show you what you should do. They don't tell you they don't force you to do things, other than you have to finish your lessons. So, like they say, why do people say, why does this keep happening to me? Well, it's because the spirit guide says you have to finish this lesson. You can do other things, but somewhere along the line, you have to finish this lesson. So she holds not only your lessons, but your spiritual abilities, your mediumship abilities, your healing. They're all being held by her. Meaning of life means that she's going to try and get you to start focusing on this stuff, focusing on, using spirituality instead of emotions, how to use your intuition rather than fear. And it's all about going through life and trying to learn those lessons. So, number 3. Number 3? Yep. Like this. I get mixed up with the numbers because, that 0 thing. Anyway, the number 3, the Empress. This is what in the spiritual world would be your mother, basically. So you're meeting your mother. So in the spiritual world, you're meeting your mother. She's going to give you, your emotions. She's going to show you how to be compassionate. She's going to show you how to be nice to people, and so on and so forth. As well, there's the knowledge tree in the back, which basically says it's time to learn. So you've been given birth. Here's your mother. She says, here's my gifts to you, which is compassion and emotions. In the meaning of life, of course, because it means that you may also have a fertility. So somebody may get pregnant, some may be thinking of having a child. It also means that you may go to school, have a lot more knowledge. So number 4 is the Emperor, who is your father. So the father is the more logical, more stern. I'm going to not let you do things that you want to do. So in the spiritual world, it says you have to have a lot of logic to move forward. So instead of, having the emotions and feeling for other people, now you're going to be hard and you're going to say, I need to protect myself. Since I've helped people, now I have to help myself. In the meaning of life, because, it's decisions to make and being logical with no emotional. When you have to make a decision, don't be emotional. You have to sit there and put your foot down. You have to use that logic or that kind of bit of anger to say, this is for me, it's not for you. So the next one, number 5. So we have the teacher. So this is the teacher saying, it's time for you to learn your spiritual stuff. It's time to learn your abilities. What are you going to learn? How are you going to learn them? What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on there's 3 parts in spirituality. You have the healing, the psychic, and the mediumship. People argue there's other ones, but those are the 3 basic ones. Anyway, so basically what this is saying is, okay, now that you've pick one that you want to use. Like, do you want a healer? Do you want to be healer? Do you want to be psychic? Do you want to be mediumship? And remember, these cards are not saying you're going to be reading other people. These cards are basically saying this is for you. This is for helping you in life. So you don't have to read other people, and 99% of people don't read other people. It's all about using your abilities to help you achieve things in life, being happy in life, and moving forward. So the meaning in life for this, is, again, possibility of learning new lessons, moving forward, helping people, learning your own abilities, or going out, starting a creative task that you're going to say, oh, I really like doing this, guitar, so on and so forth. Maybe be a painter or something, but it's all about going out and finding something that you really enjoy doing. So the next one is number 6. So the number 6 is the Lover's card. Now, people, when they see this card in tarot, always say, oh my God, I'm going to find the love of my life, and I'm going to go this and do that. And generally, the Lover's card actually means something a bit different than that. We do go out, we do find the loves of our lives, or we find the ones that are really, really bad for us. But the Lover's card comes up means that if you're not in a relationship, you will be in a relationship that'll be good for you. But if you're in a relationship, what it also means is that you guys, as in a relationship, will go up to the next level. So you'll be able to connect each other spiritually. You'll be able to talk to us psychically. So you'll be able to finish people's words and so forth. It just means that you're going to go to a higher level, which is much better than just the physical level. You're now going to go to the spiritual level. So the next one, number 7, is the Chariot card. So the Chariot card in the spiritual world is all about taking control of yourself. You're going to be pulled in many different ways. As you've met your lover, you've had your mother and father and teacher, and now with this one, you're going to go in and say, okay, now I have to go out in the world. I've got to go out and do things. But where am I going to go? How do I get there? And you'll notice the sign says there's a black horse and there's a white horse. And the white horse, or I guess they're not horses, but I call them horses. So what you're going to find out is that you're now going to have a choice. And that choice is either going negative or positive. So how do you do this? So it's all about learning how to use your spirituality to achieve things and to be in control of your destiny and not let other people send you to or bring you to a very bad destiny. Similar to, I'm not picking on anybody, but perhaps as a female meets somebody she thought she really loved, and that person takes control of their life, and probably, keeps them in the house and so on and so forth. Well, that's what the Chariot is. Beware of this. So the next card is the Strength card. So the Strength card is all about using your own strength to be successful. So it's all about looking things that are moving forward and realizing that you have to make a step forward, that you have to look at people and say, I have to do things myself. Remember, we're all supposed to have 50-50 lives, right? So everybody that's in our life gets 50% of us and we get the other 50%. That doesn't work. I know most people are 80 and 20, especially females, like they give away 80 and only have 20 themselves, and men are pretty much the opposite. So somewhere along the line there has to be that balance. And that's what the Strength card is all about, is looking at these issues and looking at and whatnot, and not using your emotions to solve these, but use your logic and your compassion in a spiritual way. So the next one we have is the Hermit. So now that we also have the relationship and we have the strength and we're happy and so on and so forth, the Hermit now is about looking at people and saying, I have my way of doing things, I'm going to do it my way. I want to learn things, I want to go out and do things, I want to be powerful enough to go ahead and do something and come back and still love you. Without whoever you're with or whoever's around you holding you back. It's kind of similar to, if you remember the Jesus story where he went into the desert for 30 days. Well, this one's kind of saying, well, now you have to take your own time and you have to figure out who you are. And make that connection to that point. So the next one we have is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, we're about halfway through it, and the Wheel of Fortune, and in tarot, usually when you get about the halfway through, we always do a change. So when you're looking at when we look at the minor ones, you'll notice that the 5 is always a change. So the Wheel of Fortune is a change. What it says is that depending on what you get in the card, you'll notice you have God on top and you have the devil on the bottom. So whichever one comes up, you're either going to have a very good part of your life, next part of your life, you're going to move into a very positive part, or if the devil comes up, means that you're going to go through some negative stuff. And that negative stuff, whatever it might be in life, it doesn't necessarily mean breakups or this or that. Negative stuff just means that we don't defend ourselves, or we have people attack us and we need to defend ourselves, or we're not just doing the right things that we want to do, so we have to make changes to make ourselves happy. A lot of things what the negativity in tarot means, and it's not necessarily what we think it is. So the next one right after that is the Judgment card, Justice card. So the Justice card, in our life cases, we always think justice as being something that's legal. We have to go in court, or we're getting sued, or this or that. So basically, what it means of the Justice card is that you'll have to be very logical with something that needs to be dealt with. In most cases that I've seen it through my reads of 25 years, there's usually only really 2 cases that comes up for me, anyways. For the Justice, a lot of times people will have to take the power of attorney or take care of somebody that's older than them that may need to have help. The other one, again, is you may have to deal with something with insurances or mortgages or stuff like that, or you're selling your house, or there's difficulties in selling your house. These are the type of things that happen with the Justice card. In the spiritual world, the Justice card is you deciding or being more aware of what you're doing and being much more logical in dealing with conflicts around you. The next card is the Hangman card. So the Hangman card is all about you waiting for things that you want in life. It's kind of a sign to us that as we grow older in the spiritual world, we need to be patient. We need to understand that things come at a specific time and a specific pace. We may ask for things and then all of a sudden realize that, okay, well, now I have to wait some time, because spirits and angels don't work at our speed. They don't use our time. They don't have time. So we may ask for something. They may put it on a desk somewhere, and then we may go, hey, it's been a day. How come you haven't answered to me? And that day to them is 5 minutes. So it's basically understanding how to be patient with things and be aware that the more you're patient, the more you're going to be rewarded. So dealing with spirits, that's what that one is basically saying. The Death card. So the Death card seems to be everybody's scary one. They always say, oh, that's the death. Somebody's dying. Oh no, I'm dying, or something's really bad's going to happen to us. Well, the Death card, really, if you look at the traditional Death card, and I am using the Rider Waite cards, which are the traditional ones. These are the original ones that were created, used pretty much. You can use all the other ones, but the basic training is usually on the Rider's Waite. So the one thing you'll see that if you look at the card, though, before we get into anything, what it really means, is you'll notice 3 things. The sun is actually coming up, so it's a new day. The flag is actually full mast, which means that there's no death. There's really nothing, because if it was a death of your mourning, the flag would have come down. And the third thing you'll notice, it's on a white horse. The white horse is God. Blessings, a good day, a good time. If you look at the people that are around it, of course, the one thing that's actually kind of dead, I guess, if you want, or knocked over, is the king who's been stopping you from moving forward. So this card is basically saying, this is the death of everything that is stopping you from moving forward. And now you have the ability to move forward to the way you want to. You don't have to deal with the king. There's, of course, a priest there. If you're a priest, you have to deal with the priest, but religion is just very subjective to each person. So but it's basically saying, hey, you know what, I took away everything. Now it's up to you to go out and do what you're supposed to do in life and how you're supposed to help people in life. So the next card, which is Temperance card. So the Temperance card, as you can see, it's an angel that's has the two heart cards. So basically what it is that are the emotional cards, whatever, I forgot what they're called. But anyway, she's got 1 foot on in water, 1 foot on land, which basically means that, when it comes to emotions and whatnot, don't sit there and try to figure out what's going on. Just make a decision and move on. Use your intuition, use your spiritual gift. If you think somebody's doing something wrong in a relationship, or friend's kind of not doing something, this is kind of a card saying, okay, for your romantic side, you need to make a decision and you need to move forward with it. And don't be worried about making a mistake, because if it is a mistake, it can be fixed. If it's a mistake that you don't like, you can just redo it again. But again, it's all about making a decision and being comfortable with our own decisions. So the next one we have is everybody's favorite, because every time I see this and that's the Devil card. And a little story with this, the Devil card, because for some reason people always seem to think that the Devil card refers to a breakup in a relationship, or that your partner's cheating, or that it's a bad relationship or whatnot. I mean, I remember having one lady come in, and she asked me for a relationship read, and she came up and said, and this came out in a relationship read, and she says, "Oh my God, okay, it's the devil. I knew it. He was cheating." And she threw the money at me and ran out of the door. I was worried somehow that some husband was going to run up to me and say, "Hey, what did you tell my wife?" The Devil card, though, even though it's black and you feel like you're chained and whatnot, is actually a very different meaning. The Devil card is all about you and your partner fighting over somebody else. And I call it the mother-in-law card. And everybody knows, what do you mean mother-in-law? If you look at what a mother-in-law is like, where if you're, just married with somebody, you just have a child, the mother-in-law typically comes in and gets a little annoying, like, oh, you have to do it this way and this way. And then after a while, somebody looks at the other partner and says, won't you defend me? And then the fight begins, because, if it's the husband usually, oh, it's my mother, I can't say anything yet. And, men a lot of times are wimps with their mothers. But it could also be, I've seen it in other cases where it's, the husband lends money to somebody, then tells the wife, and the wife gets angry because, she didn't get checked first. But the whole point is that you're fighting each other over something somebody else did. It's not a breakup in a relationship. I mean, if it's really, really bad, obviously it could mean that. But it basically means is, you have to look at each other, you have to be honest with each other, and you have to protect each other. And then once you do that and you understand what's going on, you won't fight because it's somebody else causing the problem. So the next one, the Tower. Again, another one that people seem to be afraid of. It shows, obviously, you falling out of a tower and falling to the ground and lightning hit it and looks like you're going to die and whatnot. So the Tower is very specific in tarot. And it's simply because what it's saying is that we build this tower around us the entire life. As we're kids, we get hurt. So we build a tower. We don't want to get hurt again. As teenagers, we get hurt a lot. So we keep building different walls, and we keep our tower keeps going higher and higher and higher. And then, as you hit, in the 20s or so, you get a lot of stuff happening to you. I'm sorry for this noise that's coming in. Anyway, so what the Tower is basically saying is that, the spirit guide wants to take you out of this tower because you're wasting time, because you're not allowing the correct people to come in. You use your intuition. You look at people and you go, oh, I don't like you. So you don't allow them to come in you. And you look at other people and you go, well, there's nothing there. So there's nothing there. So you can let them in if you want to. It's just they have no purpose in your life. Then you'll meet the one that says really, really nice, and you go, oh, I like you, and you would allow them in. But by having that fear on you right now, what happens is that you stop that person you really want to be in your life from coming in, because you need to test them. And these people say, well, you know what? I don't have the time to try and find my way into you. So they walk away. So this Tower is very much about let's release all those fears and start listening to your intuition, so that you have far more connections with other people to have a happier life. So the next one that comes up is the Star. So the Star is all about re-energizing yourselves, being happy with yourselves. It's pretty good. Once you're happy, you do a lot more work to energize. You have more, you wake up happier. You want to go out and do stuff. So it's all about, it's time to go out and not be so miserable with yourselves. Start looking at things and say, I'm not as bad as I used to think I am. People do like me. Moving out and expressing your happiness with people. And then once you do that, you'll be happy. We judge ourselves too much. So this one says, stop judging yourself. Just be yourself. So the one after that, now we're up to the moon. So the moon, again, coming to the end, near the end of the card. So the moon, if you look at the card, you'll notice that there's a double moon there. You have a dog who's your friend. You have the wolf that's your enemy, and then you have the scorpion in the middle, which is a friend who is an enemy. This card specifically says you need to remove those who are damaging you on a negative side. So in other words, you have somebody who's sucking all the energy out of you, somebody's always negative around you, somebody who's really making you miserable for no apparent reason, or what they're basically doing is they're trying to suck the things out of your life, right? So what they're basically saying is you need to look at these people and remove them for you to be happier as you move towards the end of this spiritual life. Remember, I said this is a journey. So this is basically saying to complete this journey, you need to remove these people. The next one, the sun. The sun is again going out and enjoying life like an 8-year-old. It's now you're sitting on on the back of God. The sun's up, everything's new growth. You're happy because you've removed everything you need to remove. Now you're at the end of this spiritual life here, and you can be really, really happy. The judgment card at the end, or sorry, not the end, the last one. The judgment card is figuring out who you want to help, because part of spirituality is helping people. So, but it doesn't mean you have to help people the way everybody else helps people. You can find something you want to do, or something's brand new. Maybe you figure out something new. But it means, the judgment is for you to look up and say, I need to do something that's going to make me happy in my spiritual world. And just me. I'm now happy, so I need to go out and express this happiness. I got to go out and see somebody who's lying on the street and go up to them and say, oh, how are you today? And say hi to them, just as part of making them happy. So it's spreading that happiness that you have achieved through your spiritual growth. And the last one in the deck is called the world. So the world is coming around full circle. It's like coming to the death of this spiritual part of your spiritual life. So you got the four corners that you're going to look at them and say, okay, which one was I successful enough for? Was I successful in, getting rid of negativity, of all the lessons you have, romance, relationships, work, and money. Have I been successful in all these part of life? And if you find yourself happy, then you're happy, and you don't have to worry about those other things. So what happens now, whether you relate this to your own physical life from the time you're born to the time you pass away, then this is a very good part of how somebody lives through life. This could be a spiritual path or lesson that you may have 3 or 4 times. So this might be 3 or 4 kind of times going through a spiritual life. To me, it's one life. You get born, you go through life, you learn all these things, and at the end, when you're lying and seeing all your family and so forth, and saying, hey, you know what? I've come around full circle. I'm happy. And this is basically the fool's journey. I hope this helps you when it comes to the upper sorry, I forgot the name. Anyway, so the next one we're going to look at is the Minor Arcana. So there it is, Major Arcana. The Minor Arcana is a lot easier because this is more of a journey. The other ones are pretty much set. So as we go through the minor, you're going to see a lot of stuff that's pretty similar to all 4 of them. Anyway, have a good evening. Again, my name's Ken Mason from Whispering Souls. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.